Alright, we're going to jump into the living word. We are at Exodus chapter 21. Ordinances for the people. Now these are the ordinances, the laws, which you shall set before the Israelites. If he purchase a Hebrew servant because of his debt or poverty, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th year he shall leave as a free man and pay nothing. If he came to you alone, he shall leave alone. If he came married, then his wife shall leave with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she gives birth to sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall belong to her master, and he shall leave your service alone. But if the servant plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not leave as a free man, then his master shall bring him to God, and that is to the judges who act in God's name. Then he shall bring him to the door or doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, a strong needle, and he shall serve him for life. If a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she shall not go free after 6 years as male servants do. If she does not please her master, who has chosen her for himself as a wife, he shall let her be redeemed by her family. He does not have the authority to sell her to a foreign people, because he has been unfair to her. If her master chooses her as a wife for his son, he shall act toward her as if she were legally his daughter. If her master marries another wife, he may not reduce her food, her clothing, or her privilege as a wife. If he does not do these things for her, then shall she leave free without payment of money. Personal injuries. Whoever strikes a man so that he dies must be put to death. However, if he did not lie in wait for him, but God allowed him to fall in his hand, then I will establish for you a place to which he may escape for protection until duly tried. But if a man acts intentionally against another and kills him by design through treachery, you are to take him from my altar to which he may have fled for protection, so that he may be put to death. Whoever strikes his father or his mother must be put to death. Whoever kidnaps a man, whether he sells him or is found with him in his possession, must be put to death. Whoever curses his father or his mother or treats them contemptuously must be put to death. If a man quarrel and one strikes another with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to bed, if he gets up and walks around leaning on his cane, then the one who struck him shall be left physically unpunished. He must only pay for his loss of time at work and the costs of treatment and recuperation until he is thoroughly healed. If a man strikes his male or his female servant with a staff, and the servant dies at his hand, he must be punished. If, however, the servant survives for a day or two, the offender shall not be punished, for the injured servant is his own property. If men fight with each other and injure a pregnant woman so that she gives birth prematurely and the baby lives, yet there is no further injury, the one who hurt her must be punished with a fine, paid to the woman's husband as much as the judges decide. But if there is any further injury, then you shall require as a penalty life for life, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, bruise for bruise. If a man hits the eye of his male servant or female servant and it is destroyed, he must let the servant go free because of the loss of the eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of his male servant or female servant, he must let the servant go free because of the loss of the tooth. If an ox gores a man or a woman to death, the ox must be stoned, and its meat shall not be eaten, but if the owner of the ox shall be cleared of responsibility. But if the ox has tried to gore on a previous occasion, and its owner has been warned, but has not kept it confined, and it kills a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner shall be put to death as well. If a ransom is demanded of him in return for his life, then he shall give whatever is demanded for the redemption of his life. If the ox has gored another's son or daughter, he shall be dealt with according to this same rule. If an ox gores a male servant or female servant, the owner shall give the servant's master 30 shekels of silver, the purchase price for a slave, and the ox shall be stoned. If a man leaves a pit open, or digs a pit, and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit shall make restitution. He shall give money to the animal's owner, but the dead animal shall be his. If one man's ox injures another's, so that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox, and divide the proceeds equally. They shall also divide the dead ox between them. Or if it's known that the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has not kept it confined, he must make restitution of ox for ox, and the dead animal shall be his. Property rights. If a man steals an ox or sheep, and kills or sells it, he shall make restitution of 5 ox for an ox, or 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief is caught breaking in after dark, and is struck by the owner so that he dies, there shall be no blood guilt for him. But if the sun has risen, there will be blood guilt for him. The thief, if he lives, must make full restitution if he has nothing. Then he shall be sold as a slave to make restitution for his theft. If the animal that he stole is found alive in his possession, whether it is an ox or donkey or sheep, he shall pay double for it. If a man causes a field or vineyard to be grazed bare, or lets his livestock loose so that it grazes in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. If fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes, so that the stacked grain or standing grain where the field is consumed, he who started the fire shall make full restitution. If a man gives his neighbor money or other goods to keep for him while he is away, and it is stolen from the neighbor's house, then if the thief is caught, he shall pay double for it. If the thief is not caught, the owner of the house shall appear before the judges who act in God's name, to determine whether or not he had stolen his neighbor's goods. For every offense involving property, whether it concerns ox, donkey, sheep, clothing, or any piece of lost property which another identifies as his, the case of both parties shall come before the judges who act in God's name. Whomever the judges pronounce guilty shall pay double to his neighbor. If a man gives his neighbor a donkey or an ox or a sheep or any other animal to keep for him, and it dies or is injured or taken away while no one is looking, then an oath before the Lord shall be made by the 2 of them, that he has not taken his neighbor's property, and the owner of it shall accept his word, and not require him to make restitution. But if it is actually stolen from him when in his care, he shall make restitution to its owner. If it is torn to pieces by some predator or by accident, let him bring the mangled carcass as evidence. He shall not make restitution for what was torn to pieces. If a man borrows an animal from its neighbor, and it gets injured or dies while its owner is not with it, the borrower shall make full restitution. But if the owner is with it when the damage is done, the borrower shall not make restitution. If it was hired, the damage is included in the price of its fee. Various laws. If a man seduces a virgin who is not betrothed and lies with her, he must pay a dowry, a marriage price, for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he must still pay money equivalent to the dowry of virgins. You shall not allow a woman who practices sorcery to live. Whoever lies with an animal must be put to death. He who sacrifices to any god other than to the Lord alone shall be put under a ban, designated for destruction, execution. You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not harm or oppress any widow or fatherless child. If you harm or oppress them in any way, and they cry out at all to me for help, I will most certainly hear their cry. And my wrath shall be kindled and burn. I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children fatherless. If you lend money to any one of my people with you who is poor, you shall not act as a creditor, a professional moneylender, to him. You shall not charge him interest. If you ever take your poor neighbor's robe in pledge, you must return it to him before sunset. For that is his only covering, it is his clothing for his body. In what shall he sleep? And when he cries to me for help, I will hear him, for I am compassionate and gracious. You shall not curse God, nor curse the ruler of your people, since he administers God's law. You shall not delay the offering from your harvest and your vintage. You shall dedicate to me the firstborn of your sons. You shall do the same with your oxen and your sheep. It shall be with its mother for 7 days. On the 8th day you shall give it as an offering to me. You shall be holy men to me, therefore you shall not eat meat from any animal that has been torn to pieces by predators in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. Alright, we'll go ahead and stop there. We'll begin on Exodus chapter 23. Don't forget your daily devotions. Thank you, Father, you are fighting my battles, and you are my vindicator. Thank you, Father, that what was meant for my harm, you are turning to my advantage. God bless you, I declare in Jesus' name.